What's going on, world? And welcome to Clearing the Wreckage Podcast. It's the voice and your host, Kareem A. Rashid. And once again, I don't know what you got going on. You could be getting on the toilet, or you could be getting off the toilet. Hell, for all I know, you could be wiping your tushy. But I know that I'm ready, and so I hope that you're ready to clear the wreckage. Yes, indeed. What's up, my friends? What's up, my peeps? What's up, my fellow Wreckage Clearers? We are back for another great conversation. Yes, I'm so happy to meet with you. Every time that I meet with you, I'm elated, I'm joyful, because I know that we are clearing the wreckage together as one. Yes, that is what this is all about, this journey that I am having alongside with you. We are partaking in the same journey. Those of you that are part of this community are partaking in the same journey that I am in, because I get to share with you my experience in hopes that it will actually produce in you or spark a catalyst to start clearing the wreckage and just giving you a little bit of light and insight. I am not Mr. Know-It-All. I am just a man who is trying his best to clear the wreckage on a daily basis. I am just a person that knows that, man, I created so much wreckage. I created chaos, destruction, havoc, and I still have that with me, and it will be with me forever. But I am in the process of knowing that each day I can go inside so that the wreckage can begin to clear. Right? Because truthfully, nobody is going to clear it for me. Nobody's going to reach inside of my head and get out all of the wreckage. I am the only one that can do that. I have to face myself, look in the mirror. MJ said it best. I'm talking to the man in the mirror. He said, no message could have been clearer. Right? I got to talk to the man in the mirror first. I got to take the time to look inside so that the wreckage can begin to clear. I'm glad that you're here with me, because I know that that is what you are about, because you are listening to me every single week. You are with me every single week, and you want to grow. You want to improve. You want to develop spiritually, emotionally. You want to grow. And I'm so grateful and thankful to have a community of those who are about clearing the wreckage. So let's begin. We talked last week about prayer and how that is a way to improve our connection with God. So this week we're going to talk about meditation as a way to improve our connection. Now, first of all, let me tell you, so you already know that I'm still telling you a story. The setting is still in between 2016 and 2017. Now, I know you're in anticipation. You're like, dang, Kareem, we're in 2026. We still 10 years behind? Like, come on. Let's get to now. What has happened? But it wouldn't be a story, or at least it wouldn't be an exciting story. How about that? If you skip through the pages, doggone it. We ain't skipping through the pages of the novel. We're not doing that. We're just not doing that. We're not skipping through the pages of the novel. We're not skipping episodes. We're not skipping to the next season. We're not doing none of that. To find out what happens later, no. We're staying put. And we're excited. We are in anticipation because we're filled with excitement. Like, man, I wonder what Kareem has to share with me today. I wonder what was happening still back then. And I cannot wait till he catches us up to the present time, which will happen soon. You must be patient. Meditation deepens our connection. Improves our connection. It improves it and deepens it by creating stillness to be able to hear that still small voice. So you know that there is a voice inside of you that speaks to you very softly, very subtly, but very directly. Do you know that? Let me first ask that question, because some of you may not know that, because here's the thing. I kind of knew that because I was, you remember, I was a little churchy or religious. So, I was told about this voice, and I was trying to listen for that voice, but, remember, I kind of drowned that voice with my wreckage, with my drug abuse, my alcohol abuse, my running after girls to have sex. All the rest of my wreckage with, the broken relationships and the way that I treated people and the negative self-talk and the criticism of self, all those things, right? Drowned out that still small voice. And it may be like that for you. You may be like, well, Kareem, yeah, I think, there's something that speaks to me. But, I hear this other voice that's very loud. The voice that tells me there's danger. The voice that tells me, wait, nope, don't do that. Because you're going to fail if you do that. That voice. Nah, don't do that, man. You're going to fail. You're not going to win. That voice is very loud. Or you may have the same voice that says, oh man, I don't know how I'm going to be able to pay this bill. It's due in 2 days. I don't have the money. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And then you have the voice that says to you, oh my gosh, well, I guess I'm just going to get my lights turned off. Oh man, I guess we're not going to be able to eat. You have a voice that's worried constantly about money. That voice is very loud. You have a voice that's worried about what other people think of you. You're walking around in a grocery store and somebody looks at you a certain way and you're like, why are they looking at me like that? What's wrong with them? But really, internally, there's something going on inside of you. You're worried about how people look at you on social media. You're worried about how many followers you have. You're worried about the fact that you don't have many followers. You're worried about still how your parents view you. Is my daddy still going to approve of this? I shouldn't do that because they're not going to approve of this. Those voices are very loud. That small voice, though, is very still, very subtle, but very direct. Now, I wonder if you can hear that. But see, for me, I drowned it out with all of those concerns and fears that I just exposed to you. That was me. So you thought I was talking about you, but remember, we do this together, clearing the wreckage together. I can only share with you my experience. That voice is so loud. And it was very loud back then. Very loud back then. Now I'm able to hear the still small voice because I got a tool that I can use, and that is meditation to improve my connection with God, right? And meditation just cultivates stillness and presence. Silent to listen. Remember that? We talked about that before. If you've been with me this whole time, you've heard that conversation already. In order to listen, you must be silent. Meditation quiets the mind and allows us to feel God's presence and experience that peace. It's almost like the clutter, the wreckage, the thoughts are not that they're not going to be there, because they're going to be there. So meditation is about sitting still and hearing those thoughts, because they're going to come in, because your mind's not going to shut off. Those thoughts are still going to come in, but not taking the time to judge those thoughts or analyze them. Just letting them come in and go right out. Meditation creates that receptive space to hear the Spirit's promptings or the nudges, which leads us to better decisions, less anxiety, more discernment, and wisdom. I did not know none of these things about meditation. You know, when my mentor told me, hey, you know, now it's time for you to learn how to pray and meditate to improve your connection with God. The prayer part, I was like, yeah, I can do that. Anybody can do that. All I got to do is open my mouth and say, hey, God, this is what I need, right? But the meditation part, I was like, I don't really know if I can actually do that. Well, here I am, a person with anxiety, already thinking to myself, like, well, you know what? I struggle with anxiety. At that time in my life, those were my exact thoughts. Here I am, struggling with anxiety. I can barely sit still. This guy is telling me that I need to meditate to improve my connection with God. I don't know about that one. I don't know if I can do that. That was very loud, by the way. That fear was very loud. I don't know if I'll ever be able to do this. And you know what I was thinking about? I was thinking about all the people in the world that really, truly know how to meditate. I will never be like them. I'll never be able to meditate the right way, so to speak. I had all those fears. But little did I know is that there's no right or really wrong way. It's not. Now, see, I know somebody is going to argue with me about that. Oh, no, there's a way to meditate. You know, the only way to do it is through yoga, because that's somebody else's take on it, right? Or somebody else will be like, no, I mean, you need to, go to a monastery, become a monk. Or you need to sit on top of this mountain, and you need to have your legs in a certain position, and you need to hum. That's how you meditate. Or someone else will say something else. We all will have our ways of doing things. And unfortunately, with us as humans, we all have our way of thinking that it is right. This is the way to go. And if you're not going that way, then oh well. You don't really know what you're doing. However, see, I'm different. I don't think that way. I think that however you decide to meditate is completely up to you. It's completely up to you. Just as long as you are improving your connection with God. That's all. And so once I got all that clutter, all that wreckage out of my mind, was like, oh, well, it is really just for me to improve my connection with God. So as long as I am doing that, it really doesn't matter how I do it. I can sit still for 30 seconds and breathe in and breathe out and be like, boom, I meditated. God dog it, I did it. I'm proud of myself. I did it for 30 seconds. And then the next day I can breathe in and breathe out and do it for a minute and be like, whoo, I did it. Or then I can up it to 5 minutes and 10 minutes and 20 and 30 and so forth and so on. And that, my friends, was my actual experience. Let me just try to learn how to sit still. Let me try to learn how to turn the TV off and just sit in silence. That was a hard one. That was so hard. But I was able to do it. Let me just see if I can cut off the music for a little while and sit in silence. See, I'm one of those people, I have to have music. I had to always have something going on in the background. I had to have some music playing. I love music. I tell you what, if there is nothing left in this world besides music, I'll be fine. That's how I used to think. Obviously, I don't really think that way anymore, but I'm just saying, that's how I was. I love music. And I felt like I needed it. When I was at work, I had earbuds in my ear. The whole time I had to have an earbud in my ear while I was working. You know, wherever I went, I had to have earbuds in my ear. When I got home, I had to turn on the radio or turn my phone on, Spotify or whatever the case might have been. I had to have music. But then I realized something. Let me just take a few minutes and cut this off. The music will still be there. And the TV will still be there. The TV has a remote control. And the music is on my phone. I can cut it off and cut it on at any time. When I realized that, I was like, oh, I can do this? It was almost like a revelation. I know that sounds strange, but it was, y'all. It really was. So, as I was stating how meditation creates that receptive space to hear the Spirit's promptings or nudges. So then I was able to sit silent for a little while and then listen. And then you remember the other thing I talked about last week, how I said I used to have these dates with God. And so this was a way for me to actually meditate too. So it wasn't just about me going to certain spots to hang out with God or whatnot and talk to God. It was about me going to certain spots and just sitting there and listening. And that was really good for me too, to just say, you know what? I'm going to leave my phone in the car and I'm going to walk over here to this spot, to our spot, to me and God's spot. And I'm going to just listen. I'm going to just listen. And I'm going to sit here for as long as I need to and just listen. And you know what? That created such an intimacy between me and my higher power, between me and God, between me and the Most High. It created such an intimacy, and an intimacy that I never felt before. And I mean, when I tell you, from no one on earth, I started to create this bond and this connection with God that I never knew that I could create, that I never knew that I could improve on. But once I realized that being silent for a little while, I was able to hear. I was able to hear some of the things that the voice was saying to me. How the voice really was reassuring me most of the time. When I had those loud voices about the bills not getting paid, or I had those loud fears about, nah, don't do this because you're going to fail, the voice was reassuring me. No, you're not a failure. That's not your identity. And those bills will be paid on time. You need not worry. I got you. Haven't I always had you when it came to you paying your bills? I got you. The voice was very reassuring. So when you hear that reassuring voice, now I'm not here to say, hey, that's the divinity talking to you. I don't know how the divinity communicates with you. But I know for me, that was the way that the Most High was comforting me, I should say. So I had that intimacy. And one of the things that I want you to think about in this conversation is I want you to think about having an intimacy with a friend. Spending time with a best friend, you may talk for a little while, then you listen, right? They may talk for a little while, then you listen, right? That's how it becomes prayer and meditation. So through the meditation, I was learning how to actually listen. Meditation also, one of the ways that I meditated, at least, I would meditate. There was a lot of ways that I would start meditating. I would start meditating because, I was Mr. Churchy for a little while. So I would take certain scriptures and I would take those and I would meditate on those. And then there were times, though, where I would empty my thoughts out, my emotions, my anxieties, my fears. I would empty it out. Empty all that stuff that's held inside my mind, right? And create space first for the divine to enter. So I'll give you an example exactly of what I used to do. And you can take this if you want to. This is up for grabs. I used to sit down and I used to breathe in and out. And I used to say, I'm breathing in. I used to say, I'm breathing you in and I'm emptying myself out. And I would say that over and over and over and over again until I feel like I'm emptied out and there is a presence inside of me. Until I feel it. Now, see, that's the type of intimacy that I was creating, that I was having. So I don't know how your meditation experience will be. I'm just sharing mine. And truthfully, the other tool that I want to share with you that you can do is just turn the TV off. Literally, like I'm about to leave this conversation with that. Turn the TV off. You know what I used to do when I got home from work, since I was learning this tool, I was learning how to meditate. I would come home and instead of turning the TV on, I would just sit down on the couch in the darkness. I may turn one light on, but I would just sit down on the couch. And I needed that time anyway from all of the crap that was going on at work. Listen, you need that time. I mean, you can call it a time of decompressing, whatever you want to call it. A moment to decompress, but you need that time. It is renewing of the mind. It is to refresh your mind. You have to take moments like that. If you continue to just be around people all day at work, come home, then turn the TV on and be around more people, they're not there physically, but they are there. And you know what I mean when I say that. You're watching them. You're watching their lives, some reality show, or whatever it may be, but you're watching them. and you got all this noise in the background, where is the time for your renewal? Where is the time for that? So that is what meditation is all about also. It is about renewing the mind, getting a refresher, so that your brain can be updated, like a computer or a phone. You got to shut your computer down every once in a while so it can actually update. If you leave your computer on, it won't update sometimes. It'll be like, nope, can't update. You might got to shut it down, got to restart it. You got to do something. It's the same way with your mind. So to make it easy for you, take your mind and compare it to a computer. When you got to shut your computer down and you can't always leave your phone on, because especially if you have an iPhone, you got to turn that thing off for it to update. And it is going to shut off anyway so that it can update. Yes. It will shut off so that it can update. That is what you need to do to your mind. That is what you need to do for your soul. That is what you need to do for your spirit. That is what you need to do. That's why physically you need rest. It's the same thing spiritually. It is a spiritual discipline so that you can rest, so that you can be renewed, so that you can become whole again. It's too much going on. It's got to be cleared out. And folks, that's what clearing the wreckage is all about, really, right? Us clearing the clutter, clearing the destruction, the havoc. So that's what I used to do. So I'm sharing the exact experience from that time frame, 2016 to 2017. I would come home from work and I would just sit on the couch. Now, I didn't do this every single night when I got home from work, but I made sure that I did it at least 3 to 4 nights out of the week. I'm just going to sit my hiney on this couch. I'm not going to look for the remote. I'm not going to turn the TV on. I'm not going to run to the shower. I'm not doing any of that. I'm sitting on the couch for a little while, and I'm going to close my eyes, and I'm going to decompress. I'm not going to pick up my phone. See, a lot of you think decompressing is, well, I'm home now, let me sit on the couch and look at my phone for an hour. That's not decompressing. That's not renewal for your mind. That's allowing more crap in your mind. All it's doing is putting more stuff in your mind. The same way if I would have got on my phone and listened to music. I'm just putting more music in my mind. I just was listening to music at work. I need more music. It's just noise, 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 constant. And for some people, it may be more difficult than others. For me, but I had to take baby steps, and that's what I'm sharing with you. So take the baby steps of just getting off from work and sitting on your couch for 2 minutes. No phone, no TV. Try it for 2 minutes. And breathe in and out and notice your breath. Notice that you're breathing in and notice that you're breathing out, which creates gratitude, right? Just for the very breath that you are breathing in. And then if you want to use what I used to do, I breathe you in and I empty myself out. Go right ahead. It's yours. We are one in this. We are one in this. We are not separate. I want you to have a connection with God that improves on a day-to-day basis. Because that's what I have now. That's what I have now. So I'm grateful that you were here to listen to me rant about meditation and how it improves your connection and how I used it to improve my connection. And I'll see you next week. But as I always leave you, take some time to look inside so that the wreckage can begin to clear. Peace.